Today we're going to be working on some roads in MILS plate, and I'll be showing you guys the set of instructions that I put together so that I could determine what parts I needed and how many of everything. I'm just going to start off building two more straight sections. We can work on some of the T-sections, curves, and four-ways later on, but I just wanted to get started with this video. I did convert this set of instructions using the Lego CAD program, so I did make a set of instructions here. It's very short, the amount of steps, it's only 8 steps. There's a lot of pieces in each step, so it goes pretty quick. I'll probably speed up the recording at some point, so you're not just standing here watching me build Lego real slow. And then I'll pause at some critical points. I did want to give a shout out to Brixie. I did kind of model this design off of the roads that he's been using in his Lego City with the bicycle lane. So big shout out to him for the kind of the template, and I basically just went through and streamlined it a little bit using his, fewer larger bricks where possible, since I was starting from scratch. Was a little bit more cost effective that way versus trying to use like 1x2s, 1x3s to make the bike lanes. So let's get started. All right, so after step 2, I did want to just point this out to you guys. So in order to get a fairly symmetrical pattern here, by the way, you could use whatever color you want for these blocks. I just went with blue because it was cheapest at the time. But these center ones are actually offset a little bit. So there's, you could see 2, 4, 6 studs on this side and only 2, 4, 5 studs on this side. That's because this is a shorter brick, because there would normally be, instead of using 2 2x4s here, that accounts for that extra space on either side there. So you could actually see in this part of the instructions, I actually did cap off the ends here with 1x4s. You don't necessarily have to do that. What I actually prefer doing is, as the road sections go together, I just use a 2x4 to actually join them together. I think it looks a little bit cleaner. It's not as easy to take apart. If you are moving roads around frequently, you might not want to do that, but it's definitely an option that you can go with. All right, so step 5, this is the one that's got a ton of pieces because you're building both the bike lane and the little extension piece on the other side. So I'm going to speed this part up because I'll be collecting pieces for a little while. But once I've got everything, I'll show you how to get this built and how to attach it and make sure it looks all nice and clean. All right, so I'm going to start off with the short side extension first, and then we'll get to the bicycle lane part in a little bit. So, 4 1x8s, bricks, dark bluish gray, and then I offset that. I used a 1x4 and then 3 1x8s and another 1x4 so that it staggered the connections, and then I spaced these evenly out, 1x2s to connect to these guys, and then I used tiles for the rest. I did want to have this centered here, and you'll see why in the next step that actually matters due to placement and support for the sidewalk surface. All right, so that's what the final product looks like. Nice and clean. And then to connect this just goes right on here. 3 connection points. Nice, clean, flat look. All right. And then basically start off the same way on the other side with the dark bluish gray and the white stripe for the sidelines. You can actually see better on this side how the tiles go and what the dimensions are. So it's a 1x2 tile followed by a 1x2 plate, followed by a 1x3 tile, followed by a 1x8 tile. And that gets you your other 1x2 tile directly in the center. And then the same spacing on the other side. So, and there's one other piece. In order to get this to sit flat, you actually do need to sit a 1x4 tile in here. And then this actually doesn't connect. In order to keep this centered in the lane this way, it doesn't line up with the studs underneath. So that actually just sits right on top like that. And then that's it for that part of the road. Like I was saying before, you can, if you want to make these roads even wider than this, you can feel free to add a couple extra bricks here, or make a thicker line, whatever you want to do. But this is, you know, just the method that I chose to use. So, all right, now for building our sidewalk, we're gonna be using some bricks here in order to do that. So again, I'll fast forward through this a little bit while I collect the pieces to do so. And I decided to stick with the 1x4 Technic pieces for the corners on the 6 stud wide sidewalk side for a little bit more reinforcement. And I used the 1x2 Technic elements on the other side so that it stays with that same alignment. Here's why the alignment of these guys matters, because this lines up perfectly also with my sewer grates. So these little pieces, these 1x2s and these grates are going to simulate water in the sewer drains, or the storm drains I should say. And I actually did end up adding a couple extra supports in here on my other model because I didn't like how far that span was. So I did reinforce that a little bit after I made this set of instructions. So you don't have to do that. I just prefer my sidewalk to not be as flexible. They are symmetrical, so it's one stud off from that support on that side and the same over here. So if you decided to not have a bicycle lane and only do sidewalk full on both sides, your storm drain would still line up in the same place. So that's the finished product. All right, the next step, we are gonna basically plate off our sidewalks. And again, with a little bit of planning, and a little bit of math, I did come up with the optimal way to do this with the fewest amount of pieces and hopefully the cheapest. Those are all 2x8s and a 2x6 on the end there. And then on this side, this is where I sort of did a little reverse engineering off of the design that I've been following. So I moved these placement wise so that it didn't interfere with the parts, and so this way I could get a full 6x6 plate on this side, and then same thing goes for over here, and then a 2x3 and a 2x2, fully plate that off, and then 6x6s complete the rest of our sidewalk. Perfect. The last part is obviously to tile off the rest of the sidewalk. So for the storm drains, this is really going to be the only part that's crucial. Obviously, 1x6 tile is going to go straight across there. And then two 1x2s on either side. And because some of the modular buildings actually use the silver grate pieces, I decided to go with that color as opposed to the dark bluish gray that we used in the earlier steps, so that this will match with our existing sidewalks. It'll coordinate better. So those go like that, and then from there, feel free to place these however you want. I just kind of put them somewhat randomly around the sidewalk so that you can attach your minifigures so that they don't keep falling over. Use as many or as few as you like. I think I used 6 in total. As long as they're spaced evenly in 2 stud increments so that they don't interfere with the others. It should be fine. So you can put those however you want. If you want to have everybody walking down the sidewalk in the middle, you can do that. If you want to have some on one side, some on another side, you could do that too. Then you're going to need 52 2x2s. So a lot of 2x2 tiles. This part I'm going to fast forward for you guys, so we'll get to the end result a little bit quicker. Alright guys, and there you have it. That's our straight Mills Plate road with our bicycle lane, and that's pretty much all there is to it. It's not nothing too crazy. It's got a good look, looks nice, solid. It does flex a little bit in this direction because obviously these bricks are laid on their sides, but everything else, I mean, it's pretty stable. Anyways, thanks for jumping on today, and I will post the instructions for this in the comments, and like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and follow me for more tips and more city progress as I get going here. All right, guys, thanks.